Hello, you join me here at Preston Station on the West Coast Main Line. Now, if you want to travel over to the Settle and Carlisle line, usually that's a pretty long trek up to Carlisle and then you can join it from there. But on Saturdays, Northern run a special service from Manchester Victoria, well, actually from Rochdale all the way through Manchester Victoria, through Blackburn and up towards Settle. So you can join the Settle and Carlisle line that way. Now, this has been going on for a little while now, but I wanted to give it a try myself. So I'm going to get a train from Preston towards Blackburn in a few minutes, and then I'm going to change at Blackburn for the train up to Settle, the twice-a-week train up to Settle. That's what makes it cool. It is Saturdays only, running 2 times a day in each direction. So I'm going to get that today. We're going to have a little look at the Settle and Carlisle line. We're going to explore some of the stations. So yeah, let's do that. Now, we'll just note that in great continuity, I'm wearing completely different clothes for the rest of the video because I recorded this thing that I'm recording right now. This intro is about 2 or 3 weeks after I recorded the rest of the video. I just forgot to do an intro, so I'm doing it now. Anyway, let's go to Blackburn.
So yes, as I head to Blackburn, let's talk a little bit about this rare twice-a-week service. In September 1962, regular services north of Blackburn towards Hellifield and the Settle and Carlisle line ceased, with the line between Blackburn and Clitheroe closed until 1994. However, due to the picturesque scenery and ideal walking locations on the Settle and Carlisle line, the Dales Rail brand was took up by local campaigners, who were also trying to save the line from closure in the 1970s, which we'll talk more on later. This new Dales Rail brand lobbied British Rail to commence special services from Leeds to Appleby to give ramblers and walkers access to the local Dales, hence the name. The service commenced in 1974 and led to several stations being reopened on the Settle and Carlisle line, and was one of the key factors in saving the line due to the immense popularity of the service. Shortly after, in 1978, Dales Rail campaigned British Rail to run services from Manchester and Colne through Clitheroe to the Settle and Carlisle line, like this service today. This service was funded by the West Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive and the Yorkshire Dales Committee. The Dales Rail service along the Settle and Carlisle line were infrequent and usually only a few services on select summer and occasional winter days. This complemented the few regional trains from Carlisle to Leeds and the last intercity services, which ran until 1982 from Glasgow to Nottingham. The Dales Rail service was popular though, with up to 6,000 passengers using the service on the handful of weekend days that it ran, which isn't bad going. Services ran as far as Carlisle to Leeds and Bradford, but also more heavily featured the line between Hellifield and Clitheroe, allowing services through to Manchester. The semi-regular service between Carlisle and Leeds on the Settle and Carlisle line, around every 2 hours today, was due to the success of the Dales Rail, and has allowed the Dales Rail community to focus on the line from Manchester and Blackburn up to Hellifield. In 1991, regional railways commenced a regular summer Sunday service from Blackburn and Clitheroe to the Settle and Carlisle line, which continued under the successive private operators until May 2018, when the failure of Arriva's new timetable, combined with strike action, saw the service frequently cancelled. By 2020, the service had been fully suspended due to COVID, with the service resuming between Blackpool and Carlisle via Preston from May 2021, carrying just 1,000 people annually, with the service being cancelled in March 2023 due to a lack of train crew, especially on Sundays, which staff were refusing to work due to overtime. Eventually, Northern brought back the service under a new name, the Yorkshire Dales Explorer, running 2 return trains on a Saturday between Ribblehead and Rochdale via Manchester Victoria, commencing on the 8th of June 2024 to much fanfare, operated usually using Class 156s. 3 months in, and the service has already hit 1,000 passengers, with nearly a quarter going on guided walks operated by special rail rambling groups. Community Rail Lancashire and the Friends of Settle and Carlisle line were both delighted by the new service, especially as it connects Manchester Victoria directly to the Settle and Carlisle line. Anyway, enough talking, more doing. Let's rejoin me as I head to Blackburn to get this train up to Settle.
The next station stop is Rochdale.
So we're just approaching Bamber Bridge on the line to Colne. We're only going as far as Blackburn because at Blackburn, that is where we can change for the line which usually goes up to Clitheroe, apart from Saturdays where it gets 2 trains a day up to Ribblehead via Hellifield on that very rare piece of track. As I said, hopefully in the voiceover, it's not a new service this, it's been around for quite quite a while. A few other people have covered it, but I thought today I might as well just go on it. I've not been on it before. It's on the bucket list. I did want to go on it all the way from Manchester, but it doesn't really matter, does it? It's all about that rare bit from Clitheroe up to Hellifield, which is the interesting part. Anyway, we're pulling into Bamber Bridge. I think we've only got 10-15 minutes until we get to Blackburn, and I've got about 20 minutes there until the train to Ribblehead. I don't actually know if I'm going to Ribblehead or Settle or somewhere else. I haven't really decided yet, but yeah, take a look at Bamber Bridge. Wow, there's a station. Incredible. Right, hello, welcome to Blackburn. I've never been here before. Now, Blackburn is a pretty big junction station here in Lancashire for 3 different lines. The East Lancashire line is the line that we were just on between Preston and Colne. Then you have the Calder Valley line, which is the Blackpool North line over to Leeds and York. And then the Ribble Valley line, which is the line that we will be going on from Clitheroe. They run through Manchester, Victoria, up to Rochdale, and then also services to the new Headbolt Lane station. Well, it's not really that new anymore, but Headbolt Lane station, those services start here at Blackburn, so it gets a good like 6, 7, 8 trains an hour depart Blackburn, and I mean it's quite a big town. I've got about 10-15 minute wait for my train, which is going to Ribblehead. Ordinarily these trains go to Clitheroe once an hour from Rochdale, but on Saturdays they run 2 extra trains in each direction a day from Rochdale up to Ribblehead, and that is where we are going today. Well, I think I might go to Settle. I'm excited. I love the Settle to Carlisle line, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to exploring a few of the stations on that line that I haven't done before. I'll see you on the train up to Hellifield, Ribblehead, Settle, etc. You know what I mean. I haven't decided where I'm going to get off. I might look around some of the other stations. I might take you with me, I might not. I haven't decided yet.
The train up to Clitheroe was nothing special. However, after Clitheroe, we passed the point where usually only freight trains run, with the last regular scheduled passenger service north of Clitheroe being back in 1962. The line has remained open for freight services and the rare passenger service, such as ours. It's a good 20-minute journey before we hit Hellifield station and join on to the main Settle and Carlisle line. Although our service continues all the way to Ribblehead, I bailed at Settle, as that meant I could tick off some more stations on the Settle and Carlisle line that I'd never been to before. But don't worry, we'll visit Ribblehead later in the video.
Well, welcome to Settle. It is really nice here, as you would expect on the Settle and Carlisle line. It's a shame the weather is not responding as so. It's a bit drizzly at the moment, but nonetheless, it's nice. And this is a new station for me. I've never been past Horton in Ribblehead. That's as far as I've got on this line, southwards. So this is the new station. Never passed through Hellifield until now. We've ticked off the rare bit of track north of Clitheroe up to Hellifield, and that train was very busy. And I mean, this whole line is just quite special. It's a really rags to riches line. June 1981, that the Friends of Settle and Carlisle line was set up to save this rail line. In the 1980s, British Rail released a report stating it would cost tens of millions of pounds to repair the viaducts and bridges and tunnels along this line, and thus it was just cheaper to close it. And the locals and tourists and many people disagreed and said no, invest in it and people will use it. The backlash regarding the closure meant that British Rail rejected their own plans to close the line. Station closures were reversed, and the line has since seen huge passenger growth figures. There's now over 1 million people use this line yearly. We're hitting 1 million passengers in 2026 for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. And well, it is one of Europe's most scenic rail lines, and it really is a really vital line actually. It's a shame that there's no direct links to Scotland or to the Midlands, which there could be, but it gets an okay service,
one train every 2 hours roughly between Settle and Carlisle and down to Leeds, and then Hellifield also gets some services up to like Morecambe and Lancaster back to Leeds as well. And Avanti West Coast used this line earlier in 2026 for diversions on the West Coast main line, so it still is a vital and important rail line. And well, thankfully they did not close it. It is the 150th anniversary. You can see that signal box up there. It's got a little display, 150th anniversary this year of the Settle and Carlisle line. But this video is not going to end there. We have done the special rare train. We've done the bit that I've always wanted to tick off. I feel like at this point I should just put my hood up. But we are going to stay. I'm going to take, there's a train about in 10-15 minutes up to Carlisle. I'm going to take that to Ribblehead station, which I've never actually got off at. I've been to the viaduct. Let's wait for this train up to Ribblehead. It's busy. It's really busy, I must say. For, I guess it is June I'm filming this in, so it's unsurprising that it's so busy. It's not really that rainy, that's the thing. I don't need the hood, it's just the wind. But yeah, it's busy. There's about, what, 30, 40 people waiting for this train. I believe there were 70 or 80 people on that train up from Manchester. I think there was a whole group. I think they organised like walks and stuff. Not that I'd want to be walking in this weather, but I mean, when it's nice and sunny, you can't beat it. You can't beat the train. So let's go to Ribblehead, and yeah, I just want to get on the train and escape this weather. I'll see you at Ribblehead. So yes, whilst I'm on this train to Ribblehead, let's talk about how this line was saved. By the 1970s and 80s, this once former Midland to Scotland main line was a shadow of its former self. Most stations had closed during the beaching acts, but the line continued to play a role as an intercity and freight route linking Scotland to the south. However, less and less services were using the line, and the upkeep of its various viaducts and tunnels meant it was losing British Rail money, and they wanted it closed. In fact, in a 1968 crash report, which occurred at Horton, the report stated that they should not install automatic warning systems on the line, as the line was already planned for closure within the next few years. Dales Rail Services provided some respite, which commenced in 1974, as aforementioned, but it wasn't enough, and closure of the line was announced in 1984. Locals weren't happy, however, and founded the Settle and Carlisle campaign to keep the line open. They pointed to the untapped tourism potential, as well as the fact that British Rail had exaggerated costs of repairing infrastructure. Journeys skyrocketed due to publicity over the closure, climbing from 93,000 in 1983 to 450,000 by the end of the decade. And, well, the passengers won, with British Rail refusing consent of the line's closure in April of 1989. From this point onward, British Rail began to repair the tunnels and viaducts, whilst helping to restore the service to the levels it sees today, whilst helping to reopen 8 stations along the route. This was all possible due to the hard work of the friends of the Settle and Carlisle line, as well as the popularity of special services like the Dales Rail one. Today, the Settle and Carlisle line is one of the most scenic in the whole world, and now boasts over 1 million passenger journeys per year. Although it still doesn't see regular services from Scotland, it does see diverted Avanti West Coast services, which occurred most recently in January of 2026, using the new Class 805 Avero trains. So, the line is thriving, and its stations are just as pretty as the surrounding scenery, as I will shortly be demonstrating at Ribblehead Station.
I don't think there's words to describe the Dales. I just think it is probably the prettiest landscape we have in England. Oh, it's just started raining. But yeah, that train, by the way, incredibly busy, full and standing. And yeah, I mean, this line is so well used. I believe they're doing a special discount because of the anniversary this year. So Northern are doing cheap tickets. Good on them. I can just see the viaduct peeping through there.
I have about 15 minutes. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get down to the viaduct in that time. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of cars lined up. I think people were waiting for the train to cross the viaduct. But yeah, this is Ribblehead. This is, you know, the station, which is probably the most famous station on the line because of the viaduct. And yeah, so actually I got the train time sort of mixed up. There's actually a train in 20 minutes going back towards Leeds, so I can get that to, I think I'm going to go to Hellifield, and then the train to Rochdale, which I got here. That train is behind that one about 10 minutes, so I can get another station in, which is good. So it's actually worked out better than I thought. But Ribblehead Station and Settle Station, both very, very pretty. I mean, Ribblehead Station is a bit more basic, especially this platform. The platform down to Carlisle is sort of like the wooden, sort of like, you know, 1980s rebuild, not too impressive, but the main platforms were nice. It's got a nice building, and this weather, it may not be nice, but the clouds on the mountain, I don't know what it is, in front of me is just so pretty. Visit here, please. Come visit this line if you haven't already. It is magnificent. Right then, welcome to Hellifield, big junction station for the line off to Leeds or Clitheroe, as well as the line for Settle and Morecambe via Lancaster. For me, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed looking at the Settle and Carlisle line, as well as the 2 trains a week service between Clitheroe and Settle / Ribblehead. If so, smash like, smash subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my other videos. Thank you very much to my YouTube and Patreon members. You'll be getting your shout out shortly. I'm going to be getting a train shortly back down to Manchester. But in the meantime, you can see this Class 158 depart on its way to Leeds. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. And of course, a huge thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members, including first class members Aaron Barry, Crispin McKee, JBNEL, Phil Smith and Tom Kennedy. My business zone members Andrew Bowen, Anthony James Moore, ARK, BK Gary, Connor Gregg, Clive's Travelling Trains, Craig Mitchell 43, Daniel Burford, Dave CDF, Henry Joy, J Teco, Gally 11, Lewis C21, Martin Thomas, NJTE, Ollie D, OVTUG Alex, Pete Denton, Real, SZWL, Train Life GB, Tom Kennedy, Will Ho, and Zach Renfrey, as well as my standard premium and standard class members. You can help support me from as little as 99 pence per month, or get your name on this list from as little as £2.99 a month. All your support means the absolute world to me and helps make videos like this one possible, so I all appreciate your support. Thank you. Once again, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Check out my Discord, Twitter, Blue Sky in the links in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.